Good afternoon, people. It's the 15th of January 2023 here in Ventnor. Gonna have a quick walk along to Ventnor Park. Let's go this way. So it's a bit overcast today. The last few days it's been clear and warm and sunny in the day. Obviously very cold at night. Whereas last night was quite mild because of this cloud cover, and today's quite kind of dull and boring. There's usually a black cap sub-singing, chattering away in this clump. Can't hear him this morning or this afternoon. Giving the winter song. I think he's after these cabbage palm berries, which blackcaps absolutely adore. Royal Hotel and the Royal Hotel Terrace. Lovely spot up there in summer. Now on Park Avenue, coming down towards the old pitch and putt course. See if there's anything around here. The fire crests like this spot. So if there's a tit flock here, quite often jam into a fire crest. Can't see any tit flock though. So what have I done this morning? Got the trains booked for my road trip or rail trip to Suffolk. So I'll be going to London on Sunday, staying at the YHA, Youth Hostel Association, backpackers basically, and then a train on Monday to Ipswich, where I'll be staying in basically couch surfing for a few days and looking for a van. I'm pretty sure it'll be a lot easier to get a van kind of somewhere like Lowestoft than it is ever going to be on the Isle of Wight. Probably be cheaper as well. Pretty much guaranteed it will be cheaper than anything on the island. You always pay a premium because we're on an island and supply is short. Putting green, I may have said pitch and putt. It's not that, it's just a putting green. I could probably park the van along here, to be honest. The written off van and kept in it, but there is a bit of traffic flow on this road compared to where I am. And here we are, Ventnor Park. Nice new sign, relatively new anyway. Don't think I've noticed it before. So these yew trees here are really popular, the fire crests and redwings at this time of year. I think all the berries are gone now, so the redwings won't be around. There's a bandstand. So I used to spend a lot of time hanging around the bandstand and just birding around here. Writing in the park. Haven't done it that much lately. Bit chilly for it now, to be honest. Can hear a blackcap tacking away. No crests. No gold crests or fire crests as far as I can see. So yeah, heading for Ipswich. Obviously the van that I've got is going to stay here for now. Fully taxed and insured and valid MOT for, well, until October I think. And it's in a spot where it's not causing anyone any problems, so I'll just keep that one for now I think. Storage and crash in when I'm here on the island. Although it might be quite expensive to have two lots of tax insurance and MOT on two vans, so probably need to think about that a bit more. Might just come down, come back to the island when I've got a van and empty that van and scrap it or sell it for spares or repair. Pretty sure it's salvageable. It's just I don't really have the resources and I'd rather get a slightly bigger van, It's kind of forced me to make that decision, really. Yeah, it would have been quite interesting had I not had lots of friends in Ventnor, because at the time the van was written off, basically I had no money at all. So I have no money now, I'm living in my overdraft. But yeah, certainly renting somewhere wouldn't have been an option really, and I couldn't have bought a van. So that period of 3 weeks of couch surfing basically saved me bacon, so to speak. That's why I love Ventnor. So any van dwellers out there, do get to know your local community. Be part of the local community. Don't be a anonymous person living in a van in a lay-by, if you can help it. I mean, some people prefer that. I prefer to be within the community, really. And it's certainly a lifesaver having friends down here in Ventnor. I mean, it's my hometown, so obviously I've got friends here, but you kind of get my drift, I hope. So it's lovely when there's no breeze and no rain. Can do without rain all the time. Quite like breeziness because that creates the storms, which are always good for videos. But this kind of weather, it's very still and pretty mild. It's really nice weather to get out for a walk, go out birding, bird watching, see what's about, see if there's any red squirrels about. They're very common here, but they can be quite elusive, sitting on twigs because they're so small. You only really see them when they start darting around chasing each other, then they become quite obvious. Haven't seen any this morning or this afternoon, I mean. But they're here. Oh, blackcap calling. That tacking call. Like that. Nothing like that, but you know what I mean. Lots of ash dieback here. So these dead trees are ash trees that have died due to ash dieback. So they'll be coming down, presumably. This one's has been painted on. So presumably that one's going to come down. One robin. Come around the corner here. There's a little weather station on the kind of the hill in Ventnor Park. Nice little bench here, which is lovely to sit in the evening because the sun is obviously goes low over there, that end in the west. So a wonderful little sun trap here later in the day. Not on a day like this, eh? It's the old hazel catkins there. Not very good ones, but just see them. With the blackberries of ivy behind. Good sign of spring, hazel catkins. So what's this, people? Test your plant identification skills. Red stem. Has it got the berries? Reddish leaves, autumn leaves. Obviously it's late winter now. That is dogwood. A native shrub on the chalk. Loves the chalk here. And obviously this is ivy. Ivy berries, which the wood pigeons are gradually munching through. What's this stuff? I used to know what that is. I've forgotten the holm oak. Not a native, but doing very well here. These bare branches are all ash trees. I think they're still alive. I don't think the ash dieback attacks the younger trees as much as the older ones. And this stuff here, these stems, thorny stems. This is blackthorn, and these stems are obviously designed, well, evolved, designed by evolution to discourage aurochs and European bison and that rhino that we used to have in Europe, which I can't remember the name of. It's extinct now, and elephants. So those kind of browsers would have browsed off these shrubs, and that's why they've got these massive thorns to try and discourage the browsers, the big megafauna we used to have. Obviously, European bison have survived, so they're not extinct. They became very close to extinction, but they're still around. In fact, the numbers are going up now because of conservation efforts. But unfortunately, the rhinos we used to have, and the elephants and aurochs. Aurochs is the European wild cattle. So those things are rhinos, elephants, and aurochs, wild cattle, are all globally extinct. So we're never going to get those back in Europe. Sadly, hunted out by people. Very tasty meat. It's lamentable, really. But yeah, these days we can't cope with moles and weasels and that kind of stuff, so we'll never be able to cope with rhinos in Europe. We're pretty feeble. Looks like some ash trees have been taken out there. Yeah, there's quite a dramatic change, the ash dieback. But it has to be said, the ash tree doesn't have that many species associated with it. It's a native tree, but not many invertebrates associated with it. Unlike English oak, which has thousands of insects that really depend on oak trees, sessile oak and pedunculate oak. So ash tree, yeah, it's a loss, but in terms of biodiversity impact, it's not that great. It looks like all of these ash are basically dead. You can really see the red stems of the dogwoods there. And this stuff is elder, of course. This one here. Elder, very brittle stemmed. Love elder. And bramble with the big thorns. Not going to touch that. And there's a dogwood with an elder behind it, covered in lichens. Let's drop down the slope again back into the lower part of the park and have a quick look at the stream. There's the bandstand. Lots and lots of benches. We have an inordinate fondness for benches in Ventnor. Still don't have enough of them though, in my opinion. Lovely holly there, covered in berries. They'll soon be eaten. If it turns colder, they'll be eaten in no time. By the blackbirds and song thrushes and redwings. Don't really get field fares down here. They're way too skittish and retiring to come down into Ventnor Park unless it gets really cold. And here's a stream. I assume this is Flowers Brook stream because it leads down to Flowers Brook itself. So I assume the stream itself is Flowers Brook. Ought to check up on that. I suppose the Ordnance Survey will say. It's a shame these weirs because they block any little fishies that might want to go up the stream. Fishies can't get over these weirs. Oh, there's a grey wagtail on the lower weir down there. So grey wagtails are the ones with lots of yellow on them. There he goes. Wagging, impossibly long tail that it's wagging. kind of fly catching at the moment off the wall over there. It's going to come down on the path, come into view, just see it. So it's on the wall. There he goes. So yeah, it's a grey wagtail with a kind of grey back and yellowish belly and flanks and throat. Look at the length of that tail, it's crazy. So grey wagtails you'll always see around streams like this in winter. In summer they nest on kind of rocky, cascading rivers and also under bridges on lowland rivers. They don't nest here as far as I know in summer. They come here to spend the winter. Let's go up this way. So yeah, grey wagtail is not to be confused with yellow wagtail. Both wagtails obviously, but yellow wagtail is very different in that it spends the winter in Africa. So that's where it is at the moment. It's where our population of yellow wagtails is, down in Africa. So they migrate in the autumn, head south and then come back in the spring. And they nest out on farmland really, in tiny numbers now. They used to be very common, but not these days. Yeah, in kind of river floodplains and in kind of pea fields and cereal crops in wetlandy type areas. Whereas the grey wagtail nests along streams, especially cascading streams, with lots of rocky crevices to nest in. And then they stay in the UK over the winter and they come here. Places like the Undercliff in Ventnor, and if you go to Devon you'll see lots of grey wagtails. In the same areas you'll see dippers. But yeah, totally different strategy. Both wagtails, the grey wagtail stays in the UK year round but does move to warmer places like the Undercliff in winter, whereas the yellow wagtail escapes completely and heads to Africa for winter. So one is migratory and one isn't. It's interesting really. Two closely related species with completely different ecology and migratory kind of lifestyle strategies really that have evolved over millennia. Right, we're going to drop down towards Myrtle Bay and then head back into Ventnor. It's the green gym, outdoor gym. We're already in Ventnor. Head back towards Ventnor Bay, I mean. Quick look west. Down towards Flowers Brook and Castle Cove, Steep Hill Cove in the distance. Let's go east now, back towards Ventnor Bay. So a firecrest just flew over there. I can hear a blackcap singing as well. Very soft sub-song of a blackcap. Lots of wood pigeons. There's a few things singing, song thrush as well. Myrtle Bay just down there. Several song thrushes singing along here as well as blackcaps, which is nice to hear. They're pretty common up on the downs, song thrushes. They like the gorse, they nest in the gorse. And obviously up on the downs there's lots and lots and lots of snails, which is their main food. Lots of snails because the downs are calcareous. Chalk grassland, and obviously the snails like it chalky because that's what they build their shells with. So that's why we've got an abundance of snails around the downs, because it's all chalky. And in turn, that's why there's lots of song thrushes up there, because... Oh, stopped. There's a robin there. Don't know what these are. They stinking iris. There's certainly an iris, I think, with red berries in winter. Very pretty. Yeah, so song thrushes are very common because snails are very common on chalky soils with lots of gorse. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you want to see more videos on van life and that kind of stuff. Obviously for next week there'll be some videos from Suffolk, which would be nice. And hit the like button if you like the video. Don't if you don't. Leave a comment. So do you live in a van or do you live in Ventnor? Comment in the comments section below. I try to reply to all comments where there's not too many. It gets more and more difficult the more people who are commenting, but I love the engagement, so do comment below and check out the description to the video, which I've also pinned as a comment under the video, so check that out. There's some links to my website and various other bits and pieces on there. And now I'm going to go down into Ventnor Bay and grab a coffee, I think.